Doctors, do you know what the future of chiropractic is? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and co-sponsored by Chiro Health USA. We're glad you're all here today. We have a very special guest with us today. I'm super excited about this. We have Dr. Joseph Busch. A lot of you probably know who he is. He's part of the American Chiropractor magazine, which we all love. And Dr. Joe, thanks for being here today. How are you?
Dr. Perusich, thanks for having me. I'm very excited. I'm feeling good. And I listen to your podcast frequently on my Apple phone as I work out. So
Perfect.
I know how this goes a little bit, although, I know the bar is high to measure up to your.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. And I've been a guest on your podcast, the TikTok, and which I love the name. I love the name. And it's funny. At first, it didn't dawn on me that it was such a play on words. So it's perfect. And I've always appreciated being on there and listen to yours as well. So, I think it's great that we're just driving information into the profession, and it's just trying to give everybody a unique perspective on, really where the profession is and more importantly, where it's going. So I was kind of hoping we talk about that today, but everybody listening today, Dr. Joe has this amazing resume. I mean, he is a mover and shaker in this profession. So I hope you tune in and listen closely today, but I've got to read you some things out of his bio real quick. So Dr. Joseph Busch, known to his patients as Dr. Joe because he is a practicing chiropractor. He's a published editor and the founder of the Panama Chiropractic Health Center in Panama City, Panama. How cool is that? Over a career spanning more than 15 years in Latin America, he has become one of the region's most recognized figures in chiropractic medicine, blending clinical expertise with a lifelong commitment to advancing natural, non-invasive healthcare. And if that wasn't enough, Dr. Busch was raised in a family where chiropractic was not simply a profession, it was their calling. In fact, his father, a chiropractor himself, is who founded the American Chiropractor magazine in 1978, which is a publication that would go on to become the most widely circulated chiropractic magazine in the United States today. And there's always one sitting on the corner of my desk. Growing up, obviously immersed in chiropractic, Dr. Busch experienced firsthand the power of chiropractic care when, like a lot of us, as a young man, he overcame chronic headaches through chiropractic treatment, an experience that would shape the course of his life. He earned his undergrad degree in chemistry from Indiana University, which is impressive, before going on to complete his Doctor of Chiropractic degree. He later obtained his CCSP and holds active licenses in the Republic of Panama, where he practices, and the state of Florida. Go Florida. Beyond his clinical work, Dr. Busch has taken on a significant role in shaping the future of chiropractic education and standards across Latin America. And of course, through the magazine, they drive education every day. He serves as president of the Council of Chiropractic Education Latin America and has been actively involved since 2018, working to raise the bar for professional competence, safety, and educational quality throughout the region. Since 2006, Dr. Busch has served as editorial and managing director of the American Chiropractor, a role that keeps him in close dialogue with researchers, clinicians, and innovators. A committed educator, a public advocate, Dr. Busch regularly shares patient stories, clinical insights, and health education in both Spanish and English throughout social media. And we are super excited to have him here with us today. And he's also part of the American Chiropractor podcast show called TikTok. So if you haven't tuned into TikTok, which I'm sure you have, please make sure that you do. So Dr. Joe, amazing background. I mean, seriously.
Narration. That was incredible, Dr. Perusich. I mean, I'm honored that you read that and hearing it. It's just, this is something that anyone who commits their life to a profession, it sounds much more impressive than it is, right? When you're going through it.
Well, you've done some amazing things, and you guys as a family, you've not only touched the ground that chiropractic was founded on, but you've continued to help it thrive and grow throughout the years, and that's impressive to me.
Thank you. Yes, we all show up. I do work to this day in the magazine with Jacqueline Foussard, my sister, who's the publisher of the magazine, and J.R. Busch, my brother, on a daily basis. So he's an account executive, works as a sales director, and we all, every day we're interacting. And so I don't think it would be as fun without having that kind of infrastructure where, from when you're a child to growing and then, live at. And my dad set the standard 50 years ago.
Yep.
And And as we grew up, it was a natural evolution for us. And we love the English language. My mom was an English teacher,
Mhm.
and she worked a lot with the editing back in our childhood. And so we always saw that, and we would even go to seminars from a very young age. So
Sure.
it's just a natural fit for us, you know?
Yeah, I love it. And I think there's something endearing about those of us that were touched by chiropractic early on in our lives before we ever thought about even becoming the part of the profession. And I hear a lot of doctors today who have entered the profession really without that touch point. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's great that anybody enters the profession, but I think there's just a difference in the heart just a little bit. It's kind of like we have a piece of chiropractic in us when we were touched by it so early on. And your dad having been so involved in the profession had to be an amazing way to grow up.
Oh, it was absolutely, but it's absolutely what you're saying about the difference in the chiropractor that enters today versus 50 years ago, 40 years ago. It's completely changed because now it's more of a career decision, and in my opinion,
Yeah.
and it's like a life choice. 50 years ago, and there's a left and a right, or whichever direction you want to say. And I mean, it was very aggressive to be a chiropractor, and the philosophical choices that one made in order to go into that as a career. And there was a lot of scrutiny. You know, it's not an
Sure.
easy profession to get into even today, but using natural methods to overcome disease and enhance health and healing is something that it's an undertaking, right? You want to help the body express itself maximally. And it's not something open to everyone. Even the insurance companies today don't cover it. You got to work your way through the school back in the day. Like when my dad went to school in Palmer, I mean, he was playing the guitar, doing rock shows on the weekend or whatever.
Love it.
My mom was a teacher at a school there in Davenport, and today we have struggles, right? We have health, or we have student loans that we have to engage in. So
Right.
for us, my dad would always talk to us about not only personal growth, but health decisions and how your body is the temple of the living God, right? That was kind of the message that he would always propagate.
Mhm.
And, this is the most important thing we have. And so the body is designed to heal itself. And that just stuck with me, right? So when a person's going through their life trying to figure out, well, where am I going to invest my energy and time? Why would you not want to figure that out and try to help other people understand that? And so for me, that was something significant.
Yeah.
And I know my siblings too. We're adding value to the community, to the people around us, the chiropractors that pick up the magazine and learn something. Maybe it helps them get, through that week when they're just like, trying to implement something new. But it's just a privilege to be able to put something like that together on a monthly basis and for helping guide people in their decision making.
Absolutely. And I think it's testament to the breadth of the profession. Of course, most of us think of the chiropractic profession of being a doctor of chiropractic, but there are other avenues as well. You and I are both involved in, I'll call it splinter parts of the profession. You with the magazine, and you guys have made it a family event, if you will, and which I think is awesome. And you'll have to tell your sister and JR hello for me, by the way.
Sure.
Um, and us with the consulting business and a couple of the other chiropractic-based businesses that we have, chiropractic has grown in that regard tremendously. And I think that kind of speaks to the power of how strong the profession has become over the years. And yet we're still fragile in a couple of areas, like you mentioned, like the insurance companies don't appreciate us. The medical world sometimes doesn't appreciate us, although I think it's gotten better, obviously, but we still have our challenges. And we have to make sure, I think, that all of us pitch in and help mold those challenges into success strategies as the profession continues to grow and age.
Absolutely. It's the changing demographic from 50 years ago to today. I mean, it can't be ignored. Most of the people that were chiropractors at that time were men, and so the profession did a really good job of getting more women through the educational system. And even today now, I mean, some of the classes are majority females. So that's a huge shift, right? And
Right.
the recognition is also kind of elevating. I mean, there are lights out there that are implying that all these years of grinding are starting to bear fruit. When you see the University of Pittsburgh with their chiropractic program, I mean, just a phenomenal thing, a public university, the top rehab university having chiropractic as a degree.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so there are still, yes, these undercurrents which are trying to erode that that foundation that we have that is helping us go to that next level. I think is common right now. I mean, we're going through this transformation of technology that the world has never seen on this scale. And if we can just continue to hone in on that message of the importance of touch, the importance of a functioning nervous system, of working with the patient's environment to help restore health and healing, that is a timeless message, right? And that's not with computer, right? That this type of interaction, even through this computer with you, Dr. Perusich, is something that adds a level. This is not a computer, right? So we are talking to each other and we know each
Right.
other. It's, there's opportunity. There's hope on the horizon. The United States, the Veterans Administration, including chiropractors. I see
Huge.
the military all the time here,
Yeah.
and love their chiropractors. So,
Sure.
there's a lot of hope, but the demographics have changed. Much more women coming into the profession.
Which is wonderful.
Right? Patients are usually women now,
Right. Right.
on a higher frequency. So, versus say back, in that time when it was like farmers coming in and it's just a very sophisticated environment. Bridging that gap is where I see you helping those chiropractors in the field with as it has evolved. So we always appreciate your writing in our magazine.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I enjoy it. And, our whole goal with our business is really just to help. We were all very successful in practice. And our whole goal is just to make sure that we propel everybody else out there trying to do well in chiropractic, which they have the right to do, trying to just help them find that same profitability path that we did. And, but it's funny, what I've noticed over the last 10 years is how quickly the profession changes, how quickly the business model changes, how quickly reimbursement changes, how quickly the federal rules change. And, it's become almost a quagmire for the independent private practice doctor to really be able to keep up with stuff like that. And, so when I pick up the American Chiropractor and I see this wide range of articles every month, it makes me smile because that tells me that you guys have created that conduit where we can get all those different pieces of information out to doctors in a very succinct and simple way so that the profession can keep up. There was a book I read a long time ago. It was called Managing at the Speed of Change. And I'm reminded of that every day when I think about how the profession has changed. And it's becoming very hard without conduits like the magazine for doctors to manage at the speed of change.
Well, don't you think that's by design? I mean, these are
Sure.
business and the medical system, a lot would characterize it as a monopoly. And
Sure.
it's more than a monopoly. It's a control structure for people, and it's global. So they don't
Right.
about freedom. They don't want freedom of information. They want it controlled.
Yep.
Chiropractors are the rebels, right? So of course we're going to take the bullets because we're the easy target. But if there's a threat to the system, it's through the chiropractic message, and the message is that your body can heal itself, and this has been going on for millennia. So it's and not only that, but the chiropractic adjustment can catalyze the rapidity with which you can heal things. So I mean, you
Yep.
can't do that through any other method. And now
No.
there's
And that's
something
why
to
we're
be
not
said.
liked.
Yeah, there's something to be said for just a healthy lifestyle, which, even today, I don't think there's ever been a time when there had been so much attention to healthy lifestyle and kids
Mhm.
are really getting it. Like for all of the guff that younger generations take, I think this generation has the most awareness of that. Maybe COVID pushed them more toward that. Maybe it pushed them more into isolationism as well, which is not healthy. But at least like with drugs, smoking, it seems like all of that stuff is coming down because people realize it's creating harm to them with toxins, right? We have the trauma and thoughts. Those are still a big problem, but at least toxins we're starting to get a little handle on. So I guess it grinds finely everything, but
Yeah, we're starting to see, some of that education now down into the schools. So, maybe some of the things that we've preached for years and years is going to start trickling back into the younger generations and boil up as a healthier society in the future. I know my daughter's a second grade teacher, and she talks about health principles with her kids in her classroom. I think that's getting more prevalent. At least I hope it is.
definitely. I think that, well, that's a lot. You see that in society. A lot of the influencers that are coming on, they're really adopting the chiropractic message, and it's important that we continue to have that with our patients and being that
Absolutely.
leader in our communities so that they know that we've always understood that.
Absolutely. We need to take a very quick break, hear a quick word from our sponsors. But, Doc, when we come back, I would love to hear more about the history of the magazine and where your dad got the idea and how all that came around. So we're talking with Dr. Joseph Busch from the American Chiropractor, as well as he is a practicing chiropractic physician in Panama City. So we're excited to have him on the show today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Affordable care shouldn't mean undervaluing yourself, but most chiropractors are still undercharging, especially when it comes to insurance allowances and cash patients with limited coverage. Chiro Health USA helps chiropractors charge appropriately, get paid well when insurance is available, and still serve patients with no or limited benefits, all through a compliant discount medical plan. The result? Doctors stop undercharging, raise fees, and increase income by about 20% without sacrificing care. That's not a discount strategy, it's a business strategy. Learn more at chirohealthusa.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast. We're talking to Dr. Joseph Busch. Joe, I want to hear more about the magazine. I wish I would have known your father, but he sounded like an amazing man. But how did the magazine come about?
Well, so that's a great question. And, your cat's consulting. So my dad at that time in the late 70s, was interested in doing seminars, and he was interested in doing practice management, which he did for a long time.
Sure.
And he was like, how do I get out there? And pretty much he at the time, magazines are the way, right? The United States Postal Service delivers it. And he was speaking a lot. And as a matter of fact, he even was writing in some of our other journals around here at the time. And so there was a situation where he had actually kind of interfaced with a printer that had like a mock-up of a magazine to be able for chiropractic, right? And so he had worked with them to be able to do that. And that was a printer in Louisville, Kentucky. But he had been interested in just basically marketing his seminars however he wanted. And he considered himself like the Gucci chiropractor at the time. Like it was kind of, that was the Mercedes 80s kind of things, which connotation. But he was doing extreme things that are not even considered today. Like a lot of this manipulation under anesthesia, that type of level thing. And he would be considering it as like closed reductions. And the stories that he told me, if I was to say that in a school when I graduated 20 years ago, they would probably, I don't know, look at me in a lesser way, right? Because probably we're going to say years ago, it was a different profession. Until 40 years ago, it was a really different profession. And so they were still creating laws for a lot of this stuff.
Sure.
At that time. And as far as licensed chiropractors go, when we're talking about today, it's 50,000, 60,000. Then it was like 15,000. And a lot of the states were still getting licensure. So his whole motivation was to be able to get his practice management seminars marketed. And so he also wanted to be a star. Don't get me. So that's what led him to that. And then, it's just kind of one thing led to another. He did end up having seminars in LA. I think the name of those were like Chiropractic USA, and one seminar in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And he had them throughout the United States.
Sure.
and did some associations as well associated with that. So, but he's just a very smart person that, loved to read, loved to teach. And so that's how that happened.
That's awesome. And so the magazine started in 79, is that right?
78. It was the first issue, I believe. Yeah. That was,
Yeah.
and so we have copies going all the way back then. Of course, it's not like digital today. You just delete it, it's gone. So all your work is like adios, but it's still physically present, and we have in our archives, which we're hoping to get those online soon.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh, the messaging is awesome. And when you look at the messaging from that day, people took so much more care of putting together those, the articles they wrote. And, all of the messages are still very consistent. I mean, like even the nutritional advice, it's like, there's not a lot of evolution behind what people are now thinking about versus then. It's much more accepted lately, and much more accepted if you talk about it with different terms, but it's still the same application. So that's what I find most amazing, right?
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. And so now today, the magazine is just an absolute mainstay in the profession. And by the way, hats off to you guys, because it seems like every edition that comes out every month, it just looks nicer and nicer.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of hard work, very dedicated team. So, and
I
a
can
very
only
dedicated
imagine.
team of professionals in the chiropractic profession. So we appreciate it. And that feedback, it helps thrive us to the next issue every time.
Yeah, it really is an incredible magazine. So I'm going to switch gears here for just a second. Since you guys kind of have I'm going to call it a step back viewpoint, or a 50,000-foot viewpoint of the profession, because you're involved in so many different aspects and interact with so many different people in the profession, from thought leaders to educators and so forth. But what do you see as where the profession is today and where today is taking us in the future?
Well, and that's a great question, right? So where are we going in the future? No one knows. With the evolution of everything, as I mentioned, 50 years ago, when we're mailing out, we're mailing to the chiropractic founder, owner of their clinic.
Right.
Today we're mailing out, and that the magazine is getting passed around, and it's going to, a human resource director. It's going to a chiropractic assistant, who's a clinic manager, chiropractor, that is maybe an employee. And so or working in a hospital. So the whole healthcare system apparatus is evolving too. If you look at what's going on with MAHA, if you look on what's going on with payment models, we're cash pay a lot anymore. I think most people that are practicing, I mean, you're not going to get reimbursed above the copay or whatever. And I think that you've mentioned that on some of your podcasts.
Right.
And so, of course, where's the money? Who's paying the money? That's where the profession goes. So I see that a lot more group work continuing to manifest itself. There's a huge shift too. Chiropractors in the profession, 50, 60, above 50 tends to dominate the people that are in practice today. So there's going to be this, not only wealth transfer in the United States, but wealth transfer within chiropractic, and these succession plans are going to influence tremendously where we're going.
I 100% agree.
So with healthcare, it's different. With a chiropractic clinic, BlackRock will come in and buy residences, but I haven't seen them really start to focus in on these alternative healthcare niche, right?
Right.
So that's really going to dictate the ability for that succession plan of the upcoming DC to walk into a clinic and it be a fair deal is going to influence where we go. But I see the permeation of the chiropractic philosophy getting much more robust throughout the community and society in the United States. I mean, you can't talk about healthcare without considering these new modalities that are really, a lot of them are using all the terms that we use with chiropractic. Oh, we're healing it from within. Wait, that's okay when you say it with this untested scientific approach that you're propagating, but now when we say that with chiropractic, that's not okay. No,
it's not okay.
I remember. Okay, I remember what you've done about our stuff, right? So it's like, but chiropractic I feel like we get stuck in this thing where we believe that it has not been proven, or we want to live with this myth that there's no science behind it. We have this tremendous amount of science.
Oh, it's huge.
And so for us to continue to focus on that, it's just like we have to understand that we did that work and it's validated. And so I just think that as the older generations, which were infected with that virus that was created by that AMA will deep down of the profession.
Yep.
Now all the haters that are still hanging on, talking about, on social media, I just think that the next generation isn't going to be infected by that way. So it'll be a mainstay.
Yeah.
The only question is if we can manage to keep ourselves as the administrator of that and executor of that.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, that's going to be, I think, one of our biggest challenges, honestly. And, you mentioned companies like BlackRock coming in and buying up tracts of houses and rental homes and those kind of things. And which is interesting. So I came from an investment banking background prior to chiropractic, mergers and acquisitions. And I see the chiropractic profession, if the investment banking world really knew how clean our businesses are and how simple, for the most part, they are to run, and what amazing profit generators they can be. Oh my gosh, the value of our practices should be going through the roof. And those kind of companies should be sitting up and taking notice and buying whole cities of chiropractic clinics. So, but I think that's something that's going to happen down the road. It will catch fire at some point.
Well, that's where you guys are so important, because the average chiropractor out there, they don't understand how to extract that value. And so when I talk to some of these, even other models, like franchising models and whatnot, they're talking about building these at. But the truth is, if they work with someone like your approach to structuring the systems and these standard operation procedures and all that, working them, getting their frame, it's much easier to transition. And it makes them be able to sleep easier. Right. So, but if you walk into a mom and pop chiropractic clinic, I don't think anyone wants to buy that, just where the guy is like, there's maybe fumed in a while.
Right. Maybe not in the condition it's in, but it's like a house. You can look at a house that's dilapidated and hasn't been taken care of, but you can look at it either from, oh, that's a sorry looking house, or that house has potential if we just fix it up a little bit. And that's how I see chiropractic practices. Oh, if we just fix it up a little bit, you'd be amazed at what kind of revenue and so forth it can generate. And it's just my focus on profitability. But, you mentioned something else too about the research. And this is something that has always stuck with me, at least for a long time. So Dr. Katz tasked me many, many years ago, I don't even want to say how long ago, to put together a rehab class. And so I put together a 4-hour rehab class. But to do that, I had to go back and do a whole bunch of research. And Joe, what I found was all this amazing research out there in the orthopedic literature, in the medical literature, the neurology literature, the brain study literature about chiropractic and what we do. It's been out there for years. They just use slightly different nomenclature, and we just weren't pulling the dots together. But it's been there, and now we've got all of our own research out there too that are substantiating us even more.
Without a doubt. And that's how I see it too. I mean, as we learn more about the effect of hormones, as we learn more about the effect of sleep deprivation, the nervous system, tone, maybe it's not exactly how we were saying, right? But it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Even what we were saying 100 years ago. So it's, I feel the exact same way as you, and even some of the most recent research and, the term vertebral subluxation gets a horrible rap within the profession. Outside of the profession, it's difficult to say, can't even spell it, but it's like, it's not that bad of a concept. And it's just, maybe we were focusing in on it too close, and we wanted it to be a light switch when it's really more of these broader systems.
Yeah. We wanted it to be too specific.
Yeah. And so what the thing is that you see it with the research with some of these, even the postural guys that are coming out now with blood flow, cerebral blood flow, some great studies. You'll find in the literature right now, if you just focus on some of these techniques like CBP, and which are evolutions of these other techniques. And those guys have been doing that with them for years. So I just think it's very exciting. I think it might be
Very.
boring to talk about posture and blood flow to the brain, but to me, are you kidding me? Especially when we're experiencing this neurodegenerative kind of epidemic going on,
Right.
and then neurodevelopmental, and how that all linking to posture and CSF flow, blood flow. I just find it very exciting. And
Yeah, I do too.
you talk to someone about that, like it kind of goes over their head in a public environment, right? But anyways.
Yeah, it's always funny to me when you talk about posture, just from a patient standpoint, they can look in the mirror and see their teeth that are crooked and they want to go get them fixed. But
Mhm.
then in the same light, they can look in the mirror and see that their posture's off, but they just want to throw a shirt or a dress or something over it and not worry about it and not get it fixed. And so I think as time goes by and there's more of that research that you're talking about that comes out about posture and the effects on physiology and those kind of things, people are going to start to pay more attention. So doctors, make sure that you keep posture. I know it's kind of a basic term to us, but keep posture in the forefront at all times because it is important.
Without a doubt. And, just ignoring the effect of the adjustment on the overall system includes posture, it's Newtonian physics, at its most
Sure.
fundamental,
Yeah.
how
good way
you
to put it.
distribute weight. And if you're able to demonstrate that over time, just like straightening your teeth, if you walk around and you know someone and you've been seeing them every day, after they get a really good adjustment, you can see that they're moving differently. I mean, it's
Sure.
a shocking thing when you're like, that is a completely different person. Not
Yeah.
only do they look, I mean, they have more aura, as the kids would say nowadays, I mean, so they're carrying that and reflecting that. It's so profound. And the bigger changes that you don't even see, much more difficult to measure, but are able to be measured now, and more prolonged effects has to be talked about. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's where my attention has been. And so maybe I'm imposing that on other people, but because just for me, I need something to get me excited. Right. And so,
Sure.
like you say, everyone's got perfect teeth, and I don't want to say perfect teeth aren't great. And a lot of my patients have huge jaw problems associated with grinding their teeth. Help them. I mean, we're all stressed a little bit, but the chiropractic adjustment helps tremendously with resolving that too. But
Oh my gosh, yes.
I'm preaching to the choir here.
The chiropractors. Very good. Joe, we need to take another quick little break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about the American Chiropractic Magazine's podcast, TikTok. So we'll be right back.
Patient numbers dipping, staff overwhelmed, and another marketing idea promising the world but delivering nothing. These pressures feel familiar to nearly every chiropractic clinic today. Across the country, chiropractors work hard, yet many find themselves stuck, balancing patient care with the nonstop demands of running a business. That's where the real strain begins. Most clinics face the same set of hurdles: inconsistent new patient flow, operational bottlenecks, and the constant challenge of staying visible in an overcrowded digital space. National reports show that over 60% of clinics struggle with scheduling efficiency alone, and even more lack a clear marketing strategy that reliably converts. But the good news? These challenges aren't roadblocks, they're signals. With the right procedures, smarter outreach, and guidance built specifically for chiropractic practices, clinics can turn daily stress into sustainable growth. Stronger clinics start with smarter strategies. Grow your practice with confidence. Book your strategy session with CATS Consultants.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned in today. Exciting show here today with Dr. Joseph Busch from the American Chiropractor Magazine, as well as one of the great chiropractic physicians in the profession. So definitely one of the thought leaders. So we're honored to have you on today. Your podcast, the podcast that you all put on, is doing some great things. When did you guys start that?
Well, we started that, I think, probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like right when TikTok started, which I was like we were brainstorming ideas for names, and we're like TikTok. Of course, a lot of the schools know what TikTok is, right? We want to talk about chiropractic. And I came to learn afterwards that there are some seminar speeches called TikTok, which I did not intend to rob. So
Sure.
talking about chiropractic, and we're chiropractors. We're going to talk about chiropractic. And that started because, you see all of these important influencers that we interact with all the time. And after having these conversations that are brilliant, I'm like, I wish people could have heard that conversation because it added so much value to me. And so that's, as I was talking with Jacqueline, like, Jacqueline, how do we do this? And so that was what that came out of. And,
I love it.
because, we're only here for a short time. And so if we talk to people that are so important to the growth of the profession, getting from where it began to where it is today, and just legends, and they have all of this information in their brain, and just the way you could say one thing can totally change your perspective on it. And so, and we've had that experience so many times. And so we just decided to add that on to what we were doing so that we could get to better know our the people that we work with, and to share that with people as well. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great platform that you guys have out there, and in my opinion, one of the best podcasts in the profession. So thank you guys for putting that on. It's well done, and you have some great guests on there.
Dr. Busch, thank you. I mean, we talk to healers, with different techniques all the time too. Technique being one of those niches in chiropractic that is like incredibly scrutinized, right? Because everyone's got opinion on technique. And
Right.
I talk to some of these guys, right? And so there is a philosophy undercurrent to it as well. And so, I mean, we get to talk to these people that they're pulling these techniques from 100 years ago when there was it's just amazing content. For me, it's very enriching. Of course, we work with a lot of vendors as well that help explain some of their shockwave devices, effects of it, laser therapy. People should know who they're doing business with when you go out and buy a cold laser.
Absolutely.
I mean, not everyone is the same. And so that's another reason that we bring it to the forefront.
Yeah. Well, you guys do a great job. And as importantly, the magazine is amazing. And we appreciate all the efforts and time and energy that you put into the profession as well.
Thank you for that. That's very,
Yeah.
very kind. And we couldn't do it without you, Dr. Perush. And
Well, I appreciate that as well.
and some of those out there that have the passion that you have, because, you've been doing, how long have you been with Cats Consulting?
Yeah. So I joined up with Dr. Katz in around towards the end of 1999. And yeah, so it's
The 30 years.
close to 30 years. And of course, I came out of the investment banking world. So, I was, even in school, it's funny, I was doing some business consulting with fellow classmates, even when I was in school, because nobody knew business. Nobody had to draw up a business plan. And I had a little side business where I was writing business plans for my classmates before they graduated. But yeah, I met Dr. Katz, and kind of the rest is history.
Well, that is very cool. So 30 years doing what you're doing right now, helping chiropractors plug in business concepts into their practice and experiencing growth. I mean, without people like you, definitely wouldn't do it. What I've been hearing more than ever is that there's there are two different realities that are emerging within the profession, the haves and the have-nots. And we've heard it throughout society as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's getting them from not having to having is an undertaking. And a lot of people want to do it on their own. And it's going to be just so much easier if they can find someone like you that can help plug in these time-proven systems and look at it from, a perspective of experience. You've probably seen every type of practice that you can,
I don't know. Every once in a while, one comes along.
You should do a podcast with that one.
Yeah, I should.
Because it's, we chiropractors are very, I guess we like to see what the other guy is doing. Right. And so and that's what drives me with the magazine and, my brothers and sisters. It's we help people formulate opinions. We don't necessarily give them the opinion that we want but when we're presenting these different approaches, although you may not agree with the techniques we talk about sometimes, or the approaches even,
Sure.
it helps you clarify your identity to the point
Absolutely.
that, even when you disagree with something, you can come away with much different action plan and very firm than when you agree with something.
Yep.
I mean, we do put some stuff out there that people are like, I can't believe they wrote that, send us nasty letters. And it's like, I'm not censoring anyone. And we are in one of the most explosive professions with explosive characters. And I love the feedback.
We get the same thing. We put out information and kind of get darts thrown at us once in a while. But I think a lot of that's just because we're trying to think ahead. We're constantly innovating. So I know when people think about practice management and business advisors, whatever category you want to put us all in, they think one of a couple of things, that you're trying to drive more patient visits and new patients into a practice. So I just have to work harder if I use your system, or we're just an expense. And, there's the delineation is that good business consulting, and not to get off on us, but good business consulting is an investment in your business, and it should parlay your business into higher growth in multiple areas of the business and help you enjoy practice better. And so when we talk about the haves and the have-nots, everybody can be a have. And I think in our profession, it comes down to one thing. There's a lot of pride in our profession, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes pride is preventing us from being open-minded to concepts and innovations that can really help our practices, and looking at those kind of people, whether it's your magazine, the American Chiropractor, getting information there, or companies like ours. Be open-minded, because there's a lot of ways to run a practice and there's a lot of ways not to run a practice. And it's really all just staying in the know and finding what fits your mindset. But drop the pride to think you can do it on your own, because I promise you, Warren Buffett didn't get to where he is on his own. Michael Eisner didn't get to where he was on his own. And Michael Jordan didn't get to be the king of basketball on his own. So everybody needs help and access to information.
I completely agree. I mean, and that's called experience. What you're saying is like, stay open after you've gone to the wrong door enough times. I mean, it's like, someone's got to help you a little bit. And adding those types of experienced mentors, it's a catalyst. It gets you to the destination quicker. It makes you be able to sleep better. I mean, don't go it alone. I totally agree with you in what you're saying. And that's, we're part of a community. People have been through it before. It's not because of the person up the road from you doing free adjustments on the weekend, but there's a way to package everything. And so
Absolutely.
take advantage of the resources at your disposal, right?
Absolutely. And thank you guys for having one of the best resources we have available in this profession. You guys are always amazing, not only with the magazine, but the podcast as well. So keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
And you know what? If that bio gets any bigger, we may have to have a whole podcast just on the bio.
I don't know. I just exported something and didn't mean to have it that long. Didn't expect it to be written.
No, it was great. It was, I've known you for a while, but it was great to read some of the highlights of your career. So thank you for sharing that.
You could be an audible reader on Perusich. You know what I mean? You might have one career in store for you.
I have been a speaker all my life, so that's where that comes from. Dr. Joe Busch, everybody. Joe, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate you guys. Tell the rest of your family we said hello, and we appreciate you being on the show.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So from all of us here at Katz Consultants, go check us out at katzconsultants.com. Make sure you go check out the American Chiropractor and their podcast, TikTok. And we want to thank Chiro Health USA for being one of our sponsors as well. So from all of us here at Katz Consultants, we'll see you next time.